What is happening, Nexus Nation? Get ready, because the news cycle is moving at warp speed, and we've got the absolute latest that you need to know. We're diving headfirst into a week packed with massive gaming updates, surprising market shifts, and tech that's pushing boundaries. From blockbuster releases dominating charts to unexpected hiccups in digital storefronts, you're about to get the inside scoop. Don't blink, because you might miss it. First up, we're heading to Japan, where a familiar franchise is making waves, challenging the usual trends and grabbing the top spot. But is this a sign of bigger things to come for PlayStation in the region? We've got the numbers. Then, a highly anticipated indie darling has hit the scene, but not without some serious launch day drama. We're talking about a game that's got everyone talking, but some players are struggling to even get their hands on it. What's the holdup? We're investigating the technical troubles plaguing one of the biggest platforms. And that's not all. We're also dissecting a brand new mech action RPG that's dropping players into a world of customization and combat. Does it live up to the hype, or is it lost in the mech bay? We're breaking down the gameplay, the story, and whether it's worth your time. Finally, we've got a story that's got thousands of players experiencing digital chaos. We're talking about a major release that's reportedly causing storefronts to buckle under the pressure. What's going on behind the scenes? Stay locked in as we bring you all the critical updates you can't afford to miss. You're watching PS5 Nexus. Let's get into it. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, ring the notification bell, and join the Nexus Nation. A Japanese chart surprise, PlayStation takes the lead. While the Nintendo Switch often dominates the Japanese gaming landscape, a recent week has seen a remarkable shift, with a PlayStation 5 title soaring to the top of the physical sales charts. This unexpected victory highlights a strong performance for a beloved franchise and signals a potential resurgence for PlayStation in a key market. Metal Gear Solid Delta. Snake Eater has officially claimed the #1 spot, achieving an impressive estimated 63,585 copies sold. This achievement is particularly noteworthy given the typical dominance of Nintendo hardware in Japan. Following closely behind, the PlayStation 5 version of Super Robot Wars Y has secured the 5th position, with 30,969 copies sold. Adding to the PS5's presence in the top tier, the console-exclusive Lost Soul Aside makes its debut at #9, rounding out a strong showing for Sony's platform. Despite these software successes, the PS5 hardware itself is facing a tougher market. The console ranked 4th in hardware sales, selling just under 5,000 units, with the digital edition bringing the total closer to 6,000. The PS5 Pro saw 2,437 sales, indicating a modest but not overwhelming demand for the latest hardware. This sales data paints a picture of a dynamic Japanese market where, despite hardware challenges, PlayStation software is finding significant traction. The success of Metal Gear Solid Delta and other titles suggests that compelling game releases can still drive significant consumer interest on the platform, even in a market traditionally favoring competitors. This unexpected chart-topping performance has generated considerable buzz among fans and industry observers alike, with many eager to see if this trend continues and what it means for future PlayStation releases in Japan. But that's not the only big news impacting gamers this week. Prepare for launch day drama as we dive into the frustrating issues surrounding a highly anticipated indie title's release on PlayStation. Hollow Knight, Silksong's rocky PS5 launch explained. The highly anticipated release of Hollow Knight. Silksong has been a moment of immense excitement for fans worldwide, but for PlayStation 5 owners, the launch has been marred by significant technical difficulties, leaving many wondering why they couldn't access the game. While Silksong launched precisely on schedule for most platforms, PS5 gamers found themselves unable to purchase or download the title from the PlayStation Store. This frustrating experience left players who had eagerly awaited the game's arrival in a state of confusion and disappointment. Initial speculation pointed towards potential errors within the PlayStation Store itself or server overload due to the massive influx of players attempting to buy the game simultaneously. Developers Team Cherry and PlayStation have remained notably silent on the specific cause of the issue, adding to the uncertainty. The file size of Silksong suggested it wouldn't be a demanding download, making the inability to access it even more perplexing for PS5 users. Many players reported being unable to even pre-purchase the game, let alone download it for immediate play. The situation was particularly galling for those who had closely followed the game's development and countdown to release. Without any official word from either PlayStation or Team Cherry, the community was left to speculate, with the most common theories revolving around technical glitches or the sheer volume of traffic overwhelming the store's infrastructure. The lack of a clear explanation or workaround only amplified the frustration. This guide was intended to be a live resource, with constant monitoring for any updates from the developers or PlayStation, aiming to provide the latest information as it became available to players who, like the author, were desperate to experience Silksong. The community was encouraged to share any findings or when the issue was resolved on social media platforms, turning the shared experience of troubleshooting into a collective effort. The inability to purchase Hollow Knight. Silksong on the PS5 store created a significant divide among players, highlighting the critical importance of a smooth and accessible launch for highly anticipated titles, especially from beloved indie developers. This launch day chaos is just one piece of the puzzle this week. We're also diving into a world of mechs, customization, and intense combat with a new action RPG review. Daemon X Machina, Titanic Scion review, a mech RPG with potential, but tedious pains. Daemon X Machina, Titanic Scion makes a jarring initial impression, throwing players into a chaotic action sequence with minimal guidance on controls or mechanics, leading to an overwhelming and janky experience. Upon character creation, players are immediately thrust into a disorienting combat scenario with little explanation, a feeling exacerbated by poorly integrated cutscenes. However, once the initial barrage subsides and the core gameplay loop begins, Titanic Scion reveals itself as a mission-based, open-world grindathon. The narrative, while touching on interesting post-apocalyptic themes, often feels disjointed and relies heavily on sci-fi tropes, with underdeveloped characters and shoddy cinematics hindering deeper investment. The premise involves a mech pilot crash landing on a desolate planet and joining a group of opportunists to acquire enough firepower to return to an orbital colony, a goal that necessitates extensive resource gathering and mech upgrades. At its heart, Titanic Scion is a loot-based RPG, emphasizing constant customization of the player's mech, the arsenal. The depth of customization is a standout feature, offering hundreds of parts that influence stats, passive perks, armor values, and movement speed, allowing for diverse playstyles through 4 equipable weapons. Experimentation is key, and players are encouraged to sink many hours into discovering their preferred loadout. Despite this, the constant stream of loot drops can become tedious, turning the act of finding minor stat improvements into a chore. Navigating menus for selling or scrapping unwanted parts is also cumbersome due to clunky sorting systems. Outside of these menu-based frustrations, the game offers a surprisingly freeform experience. The open-world locales invite exploration, though much of the off-the-beaten-path content is sparse. The Arsenal's flight capability adds verticality, but the vast, often empty environments can make traversal feel unrewarding, with valuable finds often few and far between. Combat itself is a straightforward blend of melee, gunplay, and dodges, which can feel basic in the early hours. It's only as more advanced abilities and weaponry are unlocked that battles become more engaging. Boss fights in particular are often a highlight, with tight targeting and movement controls facilitating intense, armored core-esque duels. The extensive customization options provide a layer of hidden depth for players willing to delve into optimizing their mech builds for maximum damage or control. However, the game's core loop is often bogged down by repetitive mission structures, an overwhelming amount of largely inconsequential loot, and uninspired environments. While Titanic Scion possesses a deeply addictive quality at its core, its potential is frequently hampered by tedious design elements that require significant player investment to overcome. The game received a not bad score of 6/10, with reviewers noting that the addictive core gameplay is often overshadowed by design missteps. And speaking of games causing a stir, we're tracking widespread reports of digital storefronts struggling to cope with the launch of a major new title. Hollow Knight, Silksong release triggers widespread storefront issues. The highly anticipated launch of Hollow Knight. Silksong has reportedly caused significant disruptions across major digital storefronts, including PlayStation, Nintendo Switch, and Steam, with thousands of users experiencing issues with servers and purchasing capabilities. The release of Hollow Knight. Silksong, one of the most eagerly awaited indie games in recent memory, has been met with widespread technical difficulties, impacting players attempting to access the game on multiple platforms. Reports indicate that the sheer volume of players trying to download or purchase Silksong simultaneously has overwhelmed the servers of digital marketplaces, leading to crashes, purchase failures, and an inability to access game pages. This situation has left many fans frustrated, as they are unable to experience the game they have been anticipating for years due to technical roadblocks. The issue appears to be particularly acute on the PlayStation Store, where users have reported being unable to even pre-order or download the game, mirroring the problems discussed in previous reports. Similar complaints have surfaced from Nintendo Switch and Steam users, suggesting a systemic issue related to the game's massive popularity and the resulting server strain. Developers Team Cherry and the respective platform holders have yet to issue a comprehensive statement addressing the widespread nature of these problems. However, the common thread across all affected platforms is the unprecedented demand for Silksong, a testament to its considerable hype. The inability to reliably access and purchase the game is not only disappointing for players, but also raises questions about the readiness of digital infrastructure to handle such high-profile releases. Many are comparing the situation to other major game launches that have experienced server issues, but the scale and cross-platform nature of the Silksong problem appear to be particularly severe. Online forums and social media platforms are flooded with user reports detailing specific error messages, failed transactions, and extended download times, painting a picture of widespread digital chaos. The community is actively sharing potential workarounds and updates, but a definitive solution remains elusive as users wait for official resolutions from the involved parties. This widespread disruption underscores the challenges faced by both developers and platform providers in ensuring a seamless launch experience for games that generate exceptional levels of player interest. The widespread technical issues have cast a shadow over the highly anticipated release, leaving many players in limbo as they await a stable platform to enjoy the game. And that wraps up our major news for today. But before you go, stick around for a quick recap of all the top stories and our full call to action. That's a wrap on today's explosive news, Nexus Nation. We saw Metal Gear Solid Delta conquer the Japanese charts, the frustrating launch of Hollow Knight. Silksong on PS5, a deep dive into the mech action RPG Daemon X Machina. Titanic Scion, and widespread storefront chaos impacting thousands of players. Don't miss out on any of the action. Hit that like button if you enjoyed this update, subscribe to PS5 Nexus for more essential gaming news, and ring that notification bell so you're always the first to know. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and make sure to follow us on all our social channels for even more exclusive content. We'll see you in the next one.